pag-usapan natin yung libro mo. So what's that? That's a memoir? What does it cover?
It's my life story. It covers 40 years of my career in journalism and how I started. It goes back to my early childhood days and my school days and why I decided to become a journalist. Actually, magulo yung isip ko nung bata pa ako. Hindi ko alam anong talaga gusto ko. And I accidentally went into journalism nung nasa high school. Kasi alam mo, nung high school ako, meron tayong di bang practical arts, di ba? Yung mga basketry,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
carpentry. Tamad akong gumawa ng mga project eh. Naisip kong escape in journalism.
Bakit? I mean, what was the idea? I mean, meron kang na-expose
Kasi
ka.
pagka kumuha ka ng journalism subject, exempted ka sa practical arts. So,
Okay.
kinuha ko yung journalism kasi, siguro ito madali ito, sulat-sulat lang.
Okay.
So, nung nasa koleyo na, hindi ko pa rin inisip na mag-journalism. So, I really wanted to become an engineer. No?
Okay.
Kaya lang, naisip ko, pag nag-engineering ako 5 years, that time 5 years no?
Hmm.
Tapos meron pang board exam. Sabi ko, ano kaya yung mabilis makapagtrabaho after graduation? Yung journalism, walang board exam. Actually, di man journalism mass communication
Okay.
sa PLM. So, yun ang kinuha ko. When I graduated in 1983, nag-apply ako ng science writer sa Unilab, yun, sa may malapit sa amin, Mandaluyong,
Okay.
yung pharmaceutical. So, okay na-interview na ako, nag-medical na, lahat na. Isa na lang kailangan ko, isang pirma na lang kailangan ko, yung pirma ng manager para makapasok ako sa Unilab. Nag-please hiring.
Ang mahalas mo naman.
Kasi that was in July 1983. Alam mo na ang economy, medyo mahirap, di ba, that time. Tapos, 1 month later, napatay si Ninoy. So, lalong nagkaloko-loko yung Pilipinas. Kaya hindi na ako natuloy sa Unilab. Ngayon, itong People's Journal, nag-advertise ng wanted reporter, ganyan, no?
1983 din to.
83, July.
Oh, wow.
Kasi nga, inaantay ko yung sa Unilab eh. Sabi ko, uy, subukan kaya to. So I went to People's Journal offices sa may port area. Tapos nag-apply ako kay Art Cariaga. Si Art Cariaga, sub-editor sa People's Journal. Right on the spot, he gave me an exam, no? News writing. Pumasa naman, no? Sabi niya, okay, pwede ka na. Kaya lang, hindi ka sa amin katrabaho. Ha? Bakit? Sabi ko, ang akala ko pa dito sa People's Journal, kailangan ng reporter. Sabi niya, merong isang part ng company na kailangan ng reporter. Doon ko magre-report.
Mhm.
So sabi sa akin, saan po yun? Pumunta ka kay Ronnie Pilosoyap. Si Ronnie Pilosoyap is the publicist. No? Reporter siya, pero publicist siya ni First Lady Imelda Marcos. Sabi ko, sige, sige. Kasi meron sa binubuong Metro Manila News Bureau. Yun ang pangalan. News Bureau ng Metro Manila. Sabi ko, saan po yan? Doon sa may, Aguado, sa may harap ng Malacanang. So, pumunta ako doon. Si Ronnie, yan, meron siyang isang binubong news team na ang opisina ay sa US-Philippines Business Council. No?
Okay.
Sa harap ng Malacanang, ng Kalayaan Hall. Yung pala, opisina ni Coco Romualdez. Ang inassemble ni Ronnie, ang daming mga newbies, no? Mga bagito. Tapos may mga veteran din doon na reporter tulad ni Efren Danao, Cesar Carpio, Fred Gabot, no? Si Ramon Tumeldan, yun yung mga medyo mas experience sa What we did was write glowing features news about...
Wait, Manny, sandali. Bago itong mga lahat to, you had no journalism experience whatsoever?
Sa campus.
Sa campus meron? Okay.
Oo, kasi nag-campus paper ako ng high school, tapos nung college, nasa campus paper ako ng PLM. I was the news editor ng campus paper. So yun lang experience ko, no?
Such a typical story sa atin, ano? Campus journey.
Oh, campus. Oh. So okay to, madali lang to kasi picture story, news writing, ganyan. All about the administration. And since 1984, merong batasan election, naisip namin na siguro itong news bureau is for the election, no?
Yeah.
Kasi we covered Imelda and the KBL team in Metro Manila, no? So I was assigned sa Pasig Marikina covering Dindo Fernando and Danny Floro ng KBL, no? Sila yung kandidato ng KBL eh. Tapos I also covered the local government ng Marikina, Pasig up to Muntinlupa, no? Tapos other government agencies, no? Kasi yung MMDA, which was the Metro Manila Commission during that time, was also under Imelda as governor, di ba? So, yun, we were given a list of beneficiaries of KKK projects.
Okay.
Yung Kilusang Kabuhayan at Kaunlaran.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm much younger than you, Manny, but I remember those, yes.
Yan. KKK projects. Tapos yung mga DSWD, may mga livelihood projects. We're also given a list sa cities na kino-cover namin.
Yeah.
So I visited the beneficiaries, no? And wrote about their success stories. Siyempre, for the administration. Ang problema ko lang, Aloy, karamihan, failure yung projects. Nakakuha ng pera, pero nalugi yung negosyo o hindi tinuloy. Yung pera, wala na.
Oh, wow. That sounds familiar.
Wala na. But you have to write and produce a story, no?
Yeah, Manny, just on that one, you have to write the story because kino-cover mo siya. But before you move on, you mentioned this was right after Ninoy was assassinated. So medyo ang political turmoil at that time was really, really something, right? If you remember.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Did that figure in any of this? And also, second question is the fact that was it ever an issue to you, or did you even consider na you were writing what could turn out to be propaganda for the Marcoses? Or?
Well, it's really propaganda, but yun ang trabaho eh.
Yeah.
So, well, initially, I had some very good stories na talagang success, no?
Mm-hmm.
Pero mga success stories na nangyari. Actually, I interviewed one woman from Marikina, backyard leather shoe and bag making out of scraps, no? And she was doing well. Based on my reporting, marami nakabasa, her business grew, no? Marami siyang orders even outside Manila. I think that was a very good story.
Yeah.
I also did a story sa mga kangkong growers sa Marikina, sa may Kalumpang. The Marikina River was all covered by kangkong during those times, no? Sa tuwa nga nung kangkong grower, nung kinukuha ng picture yung project niya, pinauwi niya yung kangkong doon sa photographer, isang jeep. Ang dami. Oo, si Johnny Villena ng Journal lang. Inuwi niya meron siyang owner 5 jeep eh. Inuwi na punong-puno yung owner 5 jeep niya ng kangkong. Pero yung siyempre, hindi naman lahat success stories. Eventually, you will run out of stories. No?
Yeah.
Pero we were aware yung political atmosphere, no? There were times na hindi kami makauwi kasi when we go back to Aguado, so may opisina, it's a brand new office, no? Bago yung mga typewriter, bago yung mga upuan, lahat, desk, at merong dormitory sa likod ng opisina. So there were times na we were sleeping there kasi nga hindi kami makauwi kasi there were a lot of street protests, no, during that time, especially around Binjola and Rigarta. Pag nagsusunog na ng goma sa kalye at nagpapatuhan na, mahirap sumakay, kaya minsan di na kami pinauwi. Doon na kami natulog sa pisina, may dormitory naman. No? Naalala ko, no, when Ninoy was killed, the people were going to Santo Domingo Church, diba?
Yeah.
To view his body.
Oh, and long line. Yeah.
Long lines, no? And we were warned ng isang staff na don't go near Santo Domingo kasi sabi niya, the PSC ni Marcos was watching the area and mahirap na baka makuha kayo ng picture doon. what were you doing there? Baka ma-question ka pa. Sa Malacan lang ka pumapasok. So, that was one of the regrets, no? Hindi ko nakita si Ninoy during those times at hanggang sa funeral niya, bawal kaming tumingin. So, yun. During daytime, kung hindi na gumagawa ng mga feature story, kinocover ko yung Environmental Sanitation Commission.
Okay.
Yung mga basura, no? So kasi mainit na issue nun yung dump site sa Manila.
Yung Smoky Mountain.
Oo, gusto ng close. So naghahanap ng alternative. So yung head ng Environmental Sanitation Commission sa eastern portion ng kinocover ko, Army Colonel.
Okay.
Oo, pero opisina niya wala sa eastern. Nandiyan sa may QC, sa may tabi ng East Avenue, tsaka EDSA. So pinupuntahan ko siya ron. Doon ko una nakita si Chit Estela kasi kinocover din niya. So itong si Colonel, sinasama ako sa mga inspection trips na sa mga dump site saka sa mga lugar na potential dump site. So we went as far as Valenzuela looking for a potential dump site. Hindi ko alam kung may napili silang dump site kasi tumigil na kami ng coverage after batasan election.
Yeah.
May, na batasan election. By June, kinlose up na yung News Bureau. Pero before that, around March, si Ronnie asked me to join her sa Tacloban. Kasi at that time, ang tumatakbong governor sa Tacloban, si Philip Romualdez, yung anak ni Kokoy. So we covered Philip's activities sa Tacloban for 1 month. So ang gagawin doon namin susulat yung balita, no? Doon ginagawa yung dyaryo, yung paste up hanggang pero itatakbo ang imprenta sa Journal, Manila. Leyte Forum, pangalan ng dyaryo. Early morning, ililipad ng PAL yung copies ng Leyte Forum sa Leyte para ipamigay sa Tacloban, sa Leyte. Dahil sa Manila gagawin yung dyaryo, yung deadline namin is ang aga, mga alas 4 ng hapon. So doon ko naranasan na tinatype ko pa yung storya, hinihila na ni Ronnie yung kopya ko, ini-edit na, tapos padala sa Manila. Natuto ako magsulat ng
mabilis,
maiksi at mabilis. At si Ronnie, tinuruan akong mag-gather ng news, no? Talagang real news, no? Paano mag-gather ng news, pati pagsulat. Tuto ako. Actually, yung sa eskwela, di ako natuto ng news writing. Yung campus paper nga namin, parang high school paper, college. Kasi controlled ng administration. So, yung real training, nangyari kay Ronnie. No? Pero sandali lang yun kasi nga less than a year, in June, Ronnie close shop, sara na siya. Kasi tapos na ang kanyang trabaho, tapos na yung eleksyon. No? Pero hindi naman kami iniwan ni Ronnie, sabi niya. Sinabi si Gus Villanueva, yung editor-in-chief ng People's Journal na to take care of us. So nung nawala na yung dyaryo namin, si Gus Villanueva created a afternoon tabloid ng pangalan News of the World.
Oh, wow.
Oo, News of the World. Ang editor namin si Louie Camino. Kasama ko dyan sila Gino Rehana.
Okay.
Si dito pa, si Tony Panyo, tsaka yun. Same crew dun sa News Bureau. Pero hindi naman kami tayong dyaryo. Kaya siguro, few months later, nagsara din. No? In 84. Now, in 85, sabi ni Gas, dito ko na lang sa amin sa People's Journal Tonight.
Okay.
So nagsimula ako on People's Journal Tonight, graveyard shift. Sa Eastern Police District na napaka-sleepy. Na walang istorya. Walang nangyayari.
Contrast that sa nangyayari noong 2016, right?
Wala talaga nangyayari. Walang patayan, walang krimen, no? Tahimik. So ang ginawa ko mga enterprise story. May problema sa Montalban. Ang problema nila, kuryente. Kasi yung mga transformer sa poste, binabaril.
Gandang story.
So, laging brownout. So, yun ang reklamo nila. So, yun ang ginagawa kong storya.
Pero Bok, yung mga itong ganitong klaseng enterprise story mo, nagagawa mo ito kasi ikaw ay staff ng dyaryo
Hindi,
Stringer or
columns. Oo,
okay.
Stinger. Oo.
Hirap
Ano
nun.
ata eh, parang 3 piso sa inside page, 5 piso sa front page. Pero nung na People's Journal na, correspondent. Yun, enterprise story. Tapos, dahil nasa ano ako, nasa eastern part, dyan sa may Pateros, napansin ko na ang kalye, from Pateros to Guadalupe, yung sa Embo-Embo dumadaan, eh lubak-lubak, no?
Okay.
Lubak-lubak siya, tsaka hindi maayos-ayos, tsaka nagreklamo yung mga tao dahil ang tagal ng biyahe, tsaka ang hirap. Ginawan ko rin ng series yan ng storya. At that time, si Yabut pa, di ba?
Ayun.
Si Yabut pa mayor. O, buti na, di ako dinimanda ni Yabut.
Iabot na close kay Imelda.
Oo, oo. So, yun ang aking mga community stories during that time. Aside from crime. May story pa dyan sa police nung nasa ano ako, People's Journal Tonight. Kasi ano lang ako eh, ilang mas lang ako sa Eastern, lipat ako sa Southern. And then finally, na-transfer ako sa Western Police District, pinaka-premier police district, no? In 1985. Yeah. And in 1985, during that time, nakita ko yung corruption sa media.